Exodus 34. The Lord said to Moses, cut out 2 tablets of stone like the first one, and I will write on the tablets the words that were on the first tablet, which you smashed. Moses, we're going to start over. Cut out 2 tablets. Did Moses cut out the 2 tablets the first time? It doesn't tell us. It just, I don't remember it telling us. I do know that it was by the finger of God it was described, and then Moses smashed them. They were written on front and back. So now they are being replaced. Be prepared in the morning and go up in the morning to Mount Sinai and station yourself for me there on the top of the mountain. No one is to come up with you. So just like before, no one can come up with you. Do not let anyone be seen anywhere on the mountain, not even the flocks or the herds may graze in front of the mountain. Okay? Same as before. When Moses goes up on the mountain, no one can come on the mountain. And also we had Joshua last time protecting the mountain from anyone coming on it, even animals. So Moses cut out 2 tablets of stone like the first. Why do we have Moses here? He, the referent, has been specified. Okay, so he cut out. So they're just putting Moses in. You could have left he. I like the more vague, honestly. Early in the morning, he went up to Mount Sinai, just as the Lord has commanded him, and he took in his hand the 2 tablets of stone. So he's cutting out the 2 tablets. He's bringing them up to God. The Lord descended in a cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name of the Lord. The Lord passed by before him and proclaimed, the Lord, the compassionate, the gracious God, slow to anger and abounding in loyal love and faithfulness, keeping loyal love for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin. But he by no means leaves the guilty unpunished, responding to the transgressions of fathers by dealing with children and children's children to the 3rd and 4th generation. So we had in the previous chapter, after the golden calf, we have God or Moses pleading to God to spare the people, Moses pleading to blot them out instead of me, instead of not abandoning us and not going with us. And then we had the request of, let me see your glory. Moses is told, you can't see the glory, but I will present myself. I will block you from seeing me until I pass by, and then you can see my backside. And as God is passing by, he is proclaiming who he is. This is who he is. So if you want to know who God is, the Lord, the compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in loyal love and faithfulness, keeping loyal love for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sins, but by no means leaves the guilty unpunished, responding to the transgression of the fathers by dealing with the children's children and children's children to the 3rd and 4th generation. So thousands, what do we have here in the footnote? For thousands of generations. Okay, yes. I like thousands of generations, not just loyal love for thousands. Thousands is smaller than thousands of generations. So here's the thing that like people are like, look, it says he's going to, punish and deal with children's children. The consequences continue on to the children after you. Okay? That's what that is establishing. The consequences go on to the children after you. An example I use all the time is if I'm incarcerated, the impact on my family goes to my children and my grandchildren. There's no escaping that my incarceration will impact their life. Now that my children are grown, less so. But if my children are at home and I'm incarcerated, totally impacting their life and impacting the lives of my grandchildren. So that's what we have here of the transgressions of the father, dealing with them. The consequences are extended on to 3 and 4 generations. But the compassion, graciousness, slow to anger, abounding love, and loyal faithfulness goes to thousands of generations. I mean, why do we not see the comparison? Is dull in comparison, like it's infinite in comparison. Moses quickly bowed to the ground and worshipped and said, if now I have found favor in your sight, O Lord, let my Lord go up among us, for we are a stiff-necked people. Pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take us for your inheritance. So he's returning back to the previous request that he had made. So He read the request for God to not abandon. Now God is with. He is so overwhelmed with the presence of God. He's like, you can't leave us. You have to go. Repeating the promise or the request that's already been, yes, I will go with you. Moses is the ambassador for the people. That he is fully the one who contends for them, who is the advocate for them. He said, "See, I am going to make a covenant before all your people. I will do wonders such as have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation. All the people among whom you live will see the works of the Lord, for it is a fearful thing that I am doing with you." So, Moses, you're asking this. I'm going to do signs and wonders, too wonderful for people to fathom. You thought all the stuff that happened in Egypt was amazing. You ain't seen nothing yet. Obey what I am commanding you this day. I am going to drive out before you the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. This is the 6-nation list. 6-nation list. Sometimes there's only 5. So we have 6. Be careful not to make a covenant with any inhabitants of the land where you are going, lest it become a snare to you. Why are you not to make a covenant with them? Because it could be a snare to you. It could become a trap. So do not make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land where you are going. So here is where Joshua gets into problems because he doesn't thoroughly investigate, but he's not supposed to make a covenant with anyone who's an inhabitant in the land. He believes he's making a covenant with people who are far away, not inhabitants of the land. So he doesn't think he's violating it. It turns out he is violating it, but that's a later thing. But here's the rule that he is holding on to. Don't make a covenant with inhabitants of the land where you're going. The reason why, they could become a snare to you. It could lead to bad things. Rather, you must destroy their altars, smash their images, cut down their Asherah poles. So you need to destroy their forms of worship, which you could go and participate in. So when you go into the land, you get rid of their ways of worship. For you must not worship any other god. For the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. This would also be translated zealous. He has zeal. I really think that's better. Zeal is the passion for things that should be right. Jealous we use of things that aren't, like, I'm jealous that you've done more. We use jealous in a way that's envy instead of being jealous. Anyway, be careful not to make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land. Okay, we already had that. We had the Asherah poles, and now we're going to have another reason. For when they prostitute themselves to their gods and sacrifice to their gods, and someone invites you, you will eat from his sacrifice, and you then take their daughters for your sons. And when your daughters prostitute themselves to their gods, they will make your sons prostitutes themselves to their gods as well. So herein is the danger, which we already pointed out when we were reading through what Solomon is not to do. You do not intermarry with them. Why? Because it could, although this is of the land. So I guess Egypt is not of the land. Is that not a violation then? Huh. I'll have to pay attention to that. So it is when you go into the land, you're not to go along. Why? Because they prostitute themselves to God. Prostitution is the worshiping a false god. You are giving your love and loyalty to someone who is not the God of the universe. So you are prostituting yourself to another god. That is the language that is described here. It is a broken infidelity relationship with someone it ought not be with. God is the God you should have. The only God is the God that you should worship and be in relationship with. So to go to anyone else is adultery. It's prostitution. It is a way of describing the relationship. Your daughters are going to fall into it. Your sons are going to follow into it. You must not make yourself molten gods. So the reason for the not making treaties with them is what it can lead to. Their worship, their falsehood is going to take your sons and daughters away from me. You must keep the festival of unleavened bread. So now we're going to go to in the land. What do? For 7 days you must eat bread without yeast, as I commanded you to do. Do this at the appointed time of the month Abib. For in the month Abib you came out of Egypt. So the unleavened bread, the 7 days of this, you do it every year to remember that you came out of Egypt. Never forget you came out of Egypt. Never forget I redeemed, I rescued you. Okay, Every firstborn of the womb belongs to me. Even every firstborn of your cattle that is male, whether ox or sheep. Now the firstling of the donkey you may redeem with a lamb, but if, if you do not redeem it, then break its neck. You must redeem all the firstborn of your sons. No one is to appear before me empty-handed. So the firstborn of the womb belongs to me. Why? Because we're still in the Passover. You are doing the Feast of Unleavened Bread. When you were ready and hastily leaving Egypt because God had sent the Passover and you were rescued out. So the first of the womb, which is what died on that night, are to be devoted to God. So the firstborn of your cattle, that is male, whether ox or sheep, you are to sacrifice to God. Donkeys are unclean animals, so you need to, in principle, devote that life to God. You substitute, you redeem the one by someone else, so you have a lamb in the place of the donkey. If you don't have a lamb, then you break the donkey's neck, and the breaking of a neck is a way of devoting it to God. So you can't sacrifice it, but you are to take unclean animals and you break the neck of them as a way of devoting them to God. God is the only one that can use it because it is no longer useful to anyone else for anything. So not a sacrifice, but you redeem it by breaking the neck. You redeem a donkey either by a lamb, a substitute, or you redeem it by breaking its neck, totally devoting it to God. You must redeem the firstborn of your sons. So your sons also are going to be redeemed, but they are not going to be redeemed by breaking their necks or by sacrificing them. A sheep will be the substitute. And no one is to appear empty-handed. So doesn't matter the excuse. If you have animals, you give them to God. That's what you're doing. Continuing. On 6 days you may labor. On the 7th you must rest. Even at the time of plowing and harvest, you are to rest. So you may work 6 days. You must rest the 7th. Slaves don't rest. You are having something given to you as a blessing from God. You get to rest. You got 6 days to do all your work. And don't make the excuse, it's plowing time, it's harvest time, we got to do it, we got to get it done today, do it tomorrow. Do it tomorrow. That's what you're to do. You're not to move forward and do those things. You must observe the Feast of Weeks. So we already had one festival, now the second. The fruits of the harvest of wheat and the Feast of Ingathering at the end of the year. So we're getting more feasts. At 3 times in the year, all your men must appear before the sovereign Lord, the God of Israel. For I will drive out the nations before you and enlarge your borders. No one will covet your land when you go up to appear before the Lord your God 3 times in the year. So the act of going into Jerusalem 3 times a year is trusting God that no one will take your land while you are away from your land worshiping God. It is a trust issue to go to Jerusalem. We don't know where yet, but when you're going to go up 3 times a year, and you're going to do that. So you are trusting God that no one will be envious, jealous of your land, steal your land when you go up. Why? Because everyone else is going up. Also, the foreign nations won't come at this time. Just think about this. Think about the trust it takes. You're supposed to be sending and going up for the festival of Passover 3 times a year, which means you're vulnerable for war. Your lands are going to be vulnerable for people to come and steal your land while you're worshiping God. You go up 50 days later for the festival of weeks for Pentecost, and you're going to be vulnerable again. You go at the end of the year to celebrate the harvest, to celebrate booths, and you're vulnerable again. So this is an act of trust. This is an act of trust in God to provide for you, but also slaves don't do this. Slaves do not have rest, and slaves don't have festivals that are going on. So you are being blessed by God with the call to do these things. You must not offer the blood of my sacrifice with yeast. The sacrifice from the feast of Passover must not remain until the following morning. So we go back to when Passover happened. Anything left till morning must be burnt up, remembering that, restating that, and then also including here now, offer the blood of my sacrifice with yeast. So the blood offering, we already had instructions. We're going through the tabernacle, all of that, of where the blood is to go, on the side, on the horns, all those to sacrifice things. When you're making the sacrifice, where the blood is to be given, and you don't mix it with the yeast. Offer the blood of my sacrifice with yeast. So we also had unleavened bread here. So we don't want yeast, and we're not mixing the blood of the sacrifice with yeast. So just trying to clarify how we're doing things. The first of the first fruits of your soil you must bring to the house of the Lord. You must not. Okay, so we'll not go to the next one yet. So first fruits to God. First of the womb to God. First fruits of the land. So in the same way, the first fruits give to God, and you bring those the same way that you bring your firstborn. You must not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. I mean, this passage is in several different places. See the same note on 23:19. So we've already had this several passages ago. And so this could have been, I still think it's a possibility, something that was ritual practice of the nations around them. It could have been some other, pagan worship. It could just be some delicacy of food, but there is something also about the goat and the mother's milk of taking the life-giving thing and killing something by the life-giving thing. I mean, there could be more that's going on, but we have a mixing of things, and there's a lot of things that are not to be mixed. The Lord said to Moses, write down these words, for in accordance with these words, I have made a covenant with you and Israel. So remember, he just said, I'm going to make a covenant with you right now. We're getting the words of that covenant restated. Though we had them before, they violated the covenant. We're restating the covenant, so we are reinstating the covenant. So he was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. This is the second time he's up on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. The first time he came down and the golden calf is happening. So now, let's see what happens the second time. He did not eat bread and he did not drink water. He wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments. So Moses is now writing these. The first copy was written with the finger of God. This copy is written by Moses. He's up there again 40 days and 40 nights. Now, when Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets of the testimony in his hands, when he came down from the mountain, Moses did not know that the skin of his face shone while he talked with him. When Aaron and all the Israelites saw Moses and the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to approach him. So the presence of God being there for 40 days, his face is radiating, glowing, including all the people. Aaron and the leaders of the community are also afraid. Excuse me. But Moses called to them, so Aaron and all the leaders in the community came back to him, and Moses spoke to them. After this, all the Israelites approached, and he commanded them all that the Lord had spoken to him on Mount Sinai. So all the things that we just had God say to Moses, he is telling the people. When Moses finished speaking with them, he would put a veil on his face. But when Moses went in before the Lord to speak with him, he would remove the veil until he came out. Then he would come out and tell the Israelites what he had been commanded. When the Israelites would see the face of Moses, that the skin of Moses' face shone, Moses would put a veil on his face again until he went in to speak with the Lord. So Moses now is a terrifying presence among the people. It's also a constant reminder of God's presence. Think about that. Every time Moses shows up, the face of God is shining upon you. Through Moses' face, he is reflecting God and he is speaking the words of God. It's as if God is among you, which means Moses' plea that, hey, will you show me your full glory? Couldn't see all of that. Will you not stay among your people? Is indeed happening. He is indeed staying among his people, and the glory is being reflected off of Moses, though not fully. And then Moses has to veil himself. So he comes out, he speaks to the people, he's terrifying to them, and then he covers his face, and he goes back to doing whatever else he needs to do. And then when he goes back into God, he takes the veil